Oh, so glad to be back here, and I'm glad you're back with us. It's Christina Keller. That's So Vegas with the marvelous Maven and my longtime friend, Jackie Brett. We were talking about, well, Jackie's a pioneer pretty much here in publicity and PR, and we were talking about your first job in Las Vegas, coming up from LA after growing up in Chicago.
Right.
And your boss, you were literally learning from your suppliers.
It was, I remember going outside looking at the building with the one from the billboard company, and to this day he's still laughing because everybody has it happen once in their life. The bird crapped on me.
It's good luck.
Yeah. He's laughing.
You're looking and he's crapping.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not a... But it was interesting. I was telling you about the 800 number, so he was really ahead of his time. We had the first bank of slot machines. I can't remember what you call them, where you had the person walking in the middle, and we had Susan B. Anthony dollar machines, and everybody said nobody will put like $3 or $4 in a machine. Well, everybody's eating their words because you can go to Caesars or different places and they got, way more than $1 or $5.
I have a Caesar story, but I'll
Yeah.
save it. Whoa.
So it was interesting because Andy was quite the character. He was very, very sharp. But he was a little bit of a Howard Hughes from the aspect that we put our stuff in a box, all our paper and stuff like that. It's hard for people to remember we didn't have the same communication.
Oh, no fax machines, nothing.
Well, we did have fax, but
that was more like
but we didn't use it across the street, Right. So he would come to work at 10 o'clock at night. So they'd take the box over. Well, Andy was a screamer, which a lot of the people that were managers and owners back then were screamers.
Was it part of the territory?
Yeah, it really was.
Maybe how they let off steam.
He would call like at 2 a.m. and get to something and have a question, or he wanted to expound, and he would call and just, I had the phone by the bed and call and scream. I'd be holding it like this. I'm like, oh my God, this is a little bit much.
A little more than you bargained for. Yeah. Far cry from model and actress.
Oh my God, it was. And the other thing that was really funny is my secretary, who ended up being one of my best friends and the first person I ever hired as an employee, because I wanted the management title. That was key for me at a young age. But she came back, and when they would get out of the jail downtown, they could get a free breakfast with the coupon book. So they'd get their hands on the coupon book and they'd come over and have a free breakfast at the Lady Luck.
Wait, who got out of jail?
Whoever was in jail overnight.
Oh, is that a common thing?
Yes.
I mean, your friends and relatives, they get bailed out?
No, we didn't know these people, but they...
He provided coupons for people
Coupon books. No, he didn't provide it for them. They could get their hands on the coupon book because they were free.
That's hysterical.
And she came back telling me, I'm going, they're what?
That is amazing. You can't make this stuff up.
No.
So they would come in with the coupons and get the free breakfast.
They get a free breakfast.
I remember
after they got out of jail.
Well, it's almost like a Monopoly game or something. You get out of jail free buffet.
Yeah.
Did they have buffets back then? That's always been a staple.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
yes. Because we had the Silver Slipper when I got here in '76, and then we had Kenny Kerr, who had Boylesque.
Yes.
And that was quite a thing because you would have to go get your ticket during the day, so they'd get you twice and then go back and see the show because it was sold out every night.
He was my neighbor for a nano
I
second
love
once.
Kenny.
He was the nicest guy. He has a son, Christian.
I know. Well, actually, that was his sister's son.
Oh, he would come down to our house and play with my son, Matt.
Kenny adopted the
nicest,
baby. Oh,
nicest
my God.
Guy.
And his clothes, when I interviewed him one time, because, the writing and that, we were going through the wardrobe together, and I'm like, oh, my God, I want this, I want that.
I'll give you some of this and give you some of that. So, wow, you really learned from the inside out and the ground up, and that was in the good old Vegas days. I'm sure the headliners who were some of the headliners then?
Well, actually, after the Lady Luck, one of the jobs and one that I really loved was at the Silverbird.
Oh, I remember these places.
And the people that were coming into the Silverbird at the time were people like Tina Turner, and this is before she became famous.
When they were doing the lounge acts with Willie and Gladys?
Well, they weren't quite lounge acts. I mean, they were headliners, but not the Tina that we got to know, and it was after she and Ike had broken up. We had Willie Nelson, Ray Charles. I loved working with Ray Charles because, you know, he couldn't see.
Right.
And his manager said that very seldom would they leave him to, you know, like a PR person. But I worked real well with him. I knew how to get him into the picture and then step back and then be right there to, you know, guide him wherever we were going. And then, of course, Ippy Tomby, which was the only black African musical on the strip, because we had Oba Oba, which was Brazilian, and some others. But Ippy Tomby, the 3 tribes were brought in from South Africa.
Wow, awesome.
And one of my favorite PR crisis stories is I get a call again in the middle of the night because we didn't have cell phones. So they called and they said, and I was also on a pager. I don't know if they know what pagers were, but they
I
would.
think people do, yeah.
The pager would buzz, and then your trick was to find a telephone. Yeah.
Into the phone booths.
Right.
They had to have phone booths back then.
Well, I
amazing.
got a call because the Africans weren't talent as we know talent to be, where it's like you go on stage, you do your thing. And the 3 tribes got in a fight on the midnight show.
Oh, no. On the show because of tribal differences or
Yes,
something?
so they walked off, and I had to hold a press conference the next day.
Oh, that is. What'd you do? You just so the whole show stopped and the people had
They
to
walked.
exit?
They walked
I'm
out. Yeah.
sure you refunded their tickets. So
Yeah,
didn't you?
I
That was part
wasn't.
of
That wasn't part of my job.
Oh,
I wasn't
goodness.
on that end of
Yeah.
it. And the other thing that's funny is we used to laugh because they'd call and say, "What time's the midnight show?" Well, at one time, the midnight show was at midnight.
Okay.
We had the 8:00 dinner show that you went at 6, you
Remember
ate,
dinner shows.
and then the show started at 8, and then you'd be done by 9:30 or 10. A lot of shows did go 2 hours, not just an hour and a half then. And then you'd have the break, and then you'd go to the midnight show. But it became kind of comical because later people would say, "What time's the midnight show?" when it had been changed to 10:30, 11, 11:15, stuff like that.
Of course, the whole purpose, even behind the food and all of the entertainment, is to allow
It was
people
gambling.
to gambling.
Which,
yes.
when I got here, that would be like 99% of how the money was made, and now it's down to about 43% on the strip.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we'll have to talk about that
Yeah,
in the next segment or
was a
something,
change,
because
yeah.
there's been so many changes that have gone on.
If we got a second, I'd like to
Yes.
backtrack to my 1958 story.
do.
And you have to remember that's 2 years after Disneyland opened in L.A.
Oh my goodness.
So we came through here, and my mother, working in Chicago for the Chicago Park District system, a friend of hers had given her a card because she said she was bringing her daughter out to Las Vegas, and he said to her, "Give this card to the manager, and you must stay at the Stardust Hotel." Now, my mom didn't catch any of this at the time. We got to the Stardust Hotel, and we never booked. You weren't able to book the way you do now with reservations all over the country.
Right.
So we would just pull up and go get a room. And she said, "Oh, by the way, would you give this to the manager?" Gave the card. The guy comes out. Well, you have to remember the Stardust was the Chicago Mob Hotel, and we're from Chicago. So everything was comped.
I see where this is going.
And we went to, I saw the McGuire sisters at the Desert Inn. We saw Red Skelton at the, where did Sinatra play? The Sands.
Oh, I love Red.
Then, like you, my mom put me to bed or made me stay out. And she went down to the Sahara and she saw, I'm trying to think of her name, because she actually, at her midnight show, she actually laid down on the floor and did her show laying down. I can't think of her name right
It
now.
rings a bell, but I'm really the worst when it comes to trivia
yeah.
and stuff. It'll come to us probably during the break, but we'll just come back to it.
Right. So
So-
that was quite memorable. And I saw, my first like bikini and somebody walking like a little tiger cub with a diamond necklace
that's
around
so
the pool.
Vegas.
Yeah, in stiletto
Dang.
heels. I
Maybe
mean,
the next show I'll come on in a bikini with a I could come on with my white labradoodle.
yes,
And
with
maybe
a
a fake
diamond
faux
necklace.
diamond necklace. Forget the bikini. That's right. So, oh goodness,
I
you've
mean,
seen the
I was
glory
young,
days.
so my eyes were like,
I'm sure.
Whoa.
And your little cheeks were probably turning red.
and it was the year of the Moo. So
Oh.
when we went to L.A., they were selling at Disneyland all these moo-moos.
I remember
Everybody
that.
had
I
them.
wasn't fond of it. We got to take a moo break.
Okay.
Oh, goodness, time flies. Thanks to the Red Roof Inn for sponsoring me. We'll be right back. Don't go away.